Now, it is the home of the Ryan Cameron Morning Show with Wanda Smith. And log on to watchv103.com. You know, the Atlanta Hawks are doing something big today. Grant Hill is here. Nzinga Shaw is here.
Hi, Zing.
The Chief Diversity Officer for the team. And we're going to, diversity is such a big issue and such a hotbed of discussion right now. And I don't think there's coincidences. You know, me and Wanda I always say the radio gods have smiled down on me with everything that's going on with Stacey Dash and Jada and the Academy Awards and all these different things that people are talking about diversity. But in sports, today's program, which is a 4-hour program,
4
panels.
hours. Yes.
What is your goal and what are you trying to accomplish today?
So first of all, thank you, Ryan, for giving me and the Atlanta Hawks this opportunity. Mosaic, that's the name of our program. Mosaic stands for Model of Shaping Atlanta Through Inclusive Conversations. And I think the last 2 words of that acronym are very important, inclusive conversations. So today is about presenting and providing a forum for people to talk about issues of social concern and things that are happening in our great city so that we can collectively put our heads together and start to talk about actionable steps that we can collectively take to improve the conditions that are happening in Atlanta. I think it's about being honest and transparent. We have to certainly take ownership of things that are happening in our city, and they're not always great things. I think that we can do a lot of great things out of these conversations, but what we're doing is providing a forum for people to really talk and listen to experts in our space. Grant Hill and his mother will be talking with one another about race and gender in sports and the trajectory of their careers and how race and gender have impacted them both positively and negatively along the way. We'll also hear from some thought leaders like Steve Koonin, who's our CEO of the Atlanta Hawks, regarding fan experience and what we need to do in terms of presenting compelling and great things for our fans so that they want to come to our game and experience a night at the Hawks. We'll hear from Oris Stewart, who is the NBA's first Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. And then Kevin Powell will be giving a keynote on Dr. King, resiliency, adaptability, and why diversity matters in corporate America. So it's going to be an extraordinary day. Thought leaders from all over the United States in this space talking about how we can collectively push forward the agenda of unity.
And Grant, so you and your mom, y'all are both going to be on stage, and how does that conversation go? Have y'all done this before?
No, we have not. I'm a little nervous being on stage with my mom. But my mom has really devoted her life to diversity and inclusion. She had her own consulting firm for 30 years and worked in corporate America to try to educate and at least help the corporate world with their diversity and inclusion. So very similar to the kind of work that Nzinga does. And I think we're lucky to have her, not just because she's my mom,
right?
Because I think she can add value. But to piggyback on what Zing said, we're lucky and we're fortunate to have her in this position and her leadership, her commitment, her passion. We want to be leaders in our community. We want to do everything we can to enhance Atlanta as just a really major international cosmopolitan area. And, so for us, like Zing said, you got to bring people together. If you asked me 20 years ago what diversity was, I would say it had to do with race and gender.
Okay.
But there's so many more components now. Sexual orientation, disabilities, diversity of thought, socioeconomic backgrounds. And for us to understand and respect each other, you got to bring all these people together and have dialogue. Right. And I think as you look around in the political realm, you look around what's going on in Hollywood, it's very fitting and I think very much needed to have these type of discussions. So we're excited to take that leadership in our community here in Atlanta and hopefully be a model, not just here in Atlanta, but also throughout the country of the things that we're doing. I just want to plug the Hawks real fast.
You should.
And having Nzinga in this role, I think it helped prompt the league to hire, as you said, a Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, and now have mandated every team to have a Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer within the next 2 to 3 years.
Right.
So the leadership of this franchise and the role and the work that Zing has done has really helped, really start a change in our sport in the NBA. So it's something to be proud of.
Well, and Grant Hill is here and Nzinga is in the building. We're talking about diversity in sports. I think, coming from where we were, Zing, before you got there, and you know, the community was very upset about what was going on with the team and where we've come. I mean, I've seen things, and I've been there as a PA for 11 years, but as an employee for like 13, seeing things that where the Hawks are not trying to be as politically correct, but are doing things that are right because they're the right things to do, like participating in the Pride Parade, and something that, you know, we just did, and understanding that it's just about inclusion. What has been your biggest challenge in this role, coming from all the stuff that kind of transpired?
Absolutely. I mean, when I started my job, we were in the middle of a crisis, a huge crisis, and we're publicly humiliated. And so I think the biggest challenge for me stepping into the role was getting people to understand that this was not a punitive position, that I was not the police. I was not there to count numbers and make sure that every race was represented in the room,
Right.
and that's it. I think getting people to understand that diversity and inclusion is a collective journey that we needed to be on together in order to enhance our franchise. I think that was really hard for me. There were a lot of naysayers. People thought that my job was window dressing or a bandage to cover a wound. And so I had to really very quickly work to make sure that people understood that I was there for the right reason, and I was there to help this brand recover from a crisis, and not only recover from a crisis, but to lead the NBA in the area of diversity and inclusion, and to show how everybody can be leveraged as an asset if you utilize them the right way. So it's, you know, diversity and inclusion is really about inclusion. Diversity is just 30% of the equation, but 70% of the equation is how do you treat people once they're there?
Right.
How do you leverage everyone's unique assets and abilities and create high-performing teams? And so my biggest challenge was getting to people to understand that this was very real.
Wow. I'm just so happy that y'all are taking a stand in our community, because right now, you know, we're going through so much all over the world. And as a people, and the first thing people want to say is want to ask is, what are we doing? What are we doing about it? And you guys are doing something about it. So that's what really matters. And I just want to personally say thank you for taking a stand.
Thank you, Wanda.
Thank you.
7:45. Grant Hill is here. You know, Nzinga or Nzinga. Do you pronounce? Would you like drop the N on certain days, or is it never pronounced?
My name has evolved over time, right?
It's everything, right?
I just call you Zing.
I call it Zing too, yeah.
I mean, my parents named me Nzinga, and then I went to Spelman College, and then all of my friends said, you know, your name's not Nzinga, it's Nzinga. And I'm like, oh my God, my parents named me the wrong thing. So I started calling myself Nzinga, and then it went from Nzinga to Zing. So my name has just been evolving over time.
You know you're bad when you got a bunch of names.